Hello, everyone. I am so gutted not to be here with you today in person. I think you were probably expecting Lou Richardson today from Pinterest, but she's not feeling very well. And I couldn't help myself. I was so excited about bringing this new piece of research that we've been working on since the end of last year to you all. So apologies for not being there in person, but I hope to take you through some really interesting stuff. My name is Visha Noor, and I am Director of Business Marketing for EMEA. And I've been working closely with Sparkler since the end of last year to work on a new audience research piece with Sparkler, and the study is called Inspiration Nation. It's safe to say that we've all gone through various waves of the pandemic, and in turn, each of those experiences have been personal to each and every one of us. It's affected us in terms of how we think as humans, how we think, feel, and behave. And the brands that we work with are also faced with those challenges and how to find ways to connect with today's audiences and build better and more relevant advertising to the audiences that they want to reach. And the research we're presenting today is actually meant to address that challenge today. Now, as you know, Pinterest is an inspiration platform. It's a positive and inclusive environment where you can find the things that you love and be inspired to act and actually do it in real life. In the past year, Pinterest has experienced significant global growth. Over 475 million people come to us every month in search for inspiration to build the life that they love. And in Pinterest in the UK has changed as well. With nearly 17 million monthly active users in the UK, we felt now was the perfect time to take a beat and really reevaluate who this UK audience is so that we can better help brands and agencies to understand the community that thrive here. And while I reflect on why this research initiative was such a top priority for us, well, as we navigate changing behaviors, whether online or off, we truly need to get to know people to make better advertising decisions, which is why it was critical for us to tell a truly representative story. And it's not only that, I think it's fair to say that there is a natural assumption that only women use Pinterest. And yes, they do. And we're really proud of that. Women have a significantly high purchasing power, but we've had significant growth amongst men and Gen Zers and millennials as well. So you may see some surprises along the way. So we partnered with Sparkler to carry out a thorough review of the UK, creating a segmentation to uncover and showcase different types of personas that exist here. And throughout this research, we also met some amazing people along the way. Underlying our approach was balancing rigor with creativity. Faced with not being able to conduct this research face-to-face, Sparkler developed unique ways to overcome the barriers that COVID presented in how close we can get to UK pinners. The first step was our build phase. After workshops and planning sessions, we built a 25-question survey and spoke to 5,000 people across the UK to really understand and segment this UK base and profile these segments. Next, we really wanted to understand them. So we recruited 7 respondents per segment to take part in a week-long online community, allowing us to understand who they are, the role that Pinterest plays in their lives, and the attitudes towards brands and advertising. And this gave us the real depth and detail to the segments, to real human stories. And it's worth me saying that D&I was incredibly important here. So we made sure we spoke to people from all over, not just the UK, not just in London, sorry, we not spoke to people just in London, but people from different ethnicities and people with disabilities, but also people from the LGBTQ plus community. And finally, we wanted to activate this. Following on from the community, we then hand-selected a smaller number of respondents we met throughout the Qualls research to take on one-on-one directed films. And this group of people showed us their lives through the lenses of their phones and the cameras that we armed them with. And this is the real-life photography and footage that you'll see throughout this presentation. And one of our governing thoughts right from the beginning was just how complex and dynamic we are. So we wanted to create segments that were multi-dimensional and capture people from 3 different angles: who they are as people, what they're interested in, specifically when on Pinterest, and what their unique value is to advertisers. And this research has proven that Pinterest is a place for inspiration, discovery, and really creates action. So we're really pleased to say that through this approach, we've actually discovered 6 core audience types. And without further ado, let's meet who they are. The first up, and probably the most surprising bunch, are the digital doers. These are tech-savvy individuals who use Pinterest for seeking self-growth and inspiration. They love the ability to personalize content that they see, are passionate about tech, sports, and travel. The majority of them identify as male, and they skew a little bit older, a demographic not typically associated with Pinterest users. Yet this segment actually makes up 1/6 of our pinners in the UK. And they are self-defined geeks, and proudly so. They are practical planners, methodical and organized in the approach, in how they approach tasks. They have a real zest for life and are passionate about life's possibilities. And the digital doers are defined by their strong interest in technology and holidays and travel and sports when they're using the platform. And technology is the biggest interest area. And this also includes things like computers, smart tech, phones, and gadgets. And this is then followed by their interest in holidays and travel when they're looking for things like beaches and luxury holidays and city breaks. I mean, who isn't right now? But around 61% of them have an interest in sports, which includes things like football, fitness and exercise, and outdoor activities. Now, there are a few ways that the platform brings value for this audience. It's a planning tool. Pinterest plays a role in researching upcoming purchases and short-term ideas, for example, new headphones, as well as undertaking those bigger projects in the long term, such as remodeling cars and holiday planning. And one of our respondents from the Midlands actually spoke about how they were inspired by projects and how it plants the idea seeds in their minds for future things. And it also helps them visualize their aspirations. It brings them value as it helps them organize their lives and visually represent their goals, ambitions for what they're trying to achieve, which makes them feel more within reach. And it gives them the freedom to explore. They see it as a place where they can enjoy and tap into their interests, rather than feeling the pressures of ideas being pushed at them by other people or algorithms that are not working in their favor. You know, one of our Midland respondents spoke about it being a quiet accumulation of who you are, rather than being other channels that are about shouting and convincing others on what you wish to be presented as. And with digital doers, inspiration really does lead to action. You know, the majority believe that Pinterest is an inspirational platform, a place for discovery, and 85% of them take some sort of post-platform action after they've been on it. And now we have the aesthetic seekers. These are open-minded and exploratory people that are incredibly passionate about fashion and beauty. Demographically, majority of them identify as female, but they also skew younger, with 44% of them being within the 18 and 24, being between 18 and 24, so within our Gen Z bracket. And they are fun and they are sociable and have a really positive outlook on life. And as you can see from this quote from one of our study participants from Manchester, my priorities right now are honestly just to make sure I'm happy within myself and to get a point of view of what I'm doing that I love and that is working within the beauty industry. Now, with this segment, Pinterest is critical in establishing their own aesthetic. And what that means is their top interests are on Pinterest of things like fashion, like at 82%. And it also includes things like casual outfits and shoes and dresses. And following on from that is their interest in beauty and grooming and things like hair and makeup and skincare. But beyond this, they're also interested in, but to a lesser extent, in things like holidays and travel, celebrations, relationships, and life. Pinterest plays an important role in their lives in 3 distinct ways. First and foremost, they use it for aesthetic development. It's a genuine place of inspiration and creativity, allowing these users to develop their style in bringing a variety of new ideas into their ether. Secondly, they use it for confidence building. They see it they love to see the wide variety of styles on Pinterest that can serve as the basis of their own unique ideas. Moreover, access to so many different ideas can sometimes encourage them to try out something new beyond their own comfort zones. And finally, it's a place of positive proactivity. Pinterest can be served productivity. Pinterest can serve as more of a fulfilling way to spend their free time versus how they feel towards other social media platforms. And this segment uses it as a way to feel as though they're really working towards their goals, big or small, every time they use the platform rather than wasting their time. You know, for one of our London respondents, she actually spoke about how she likes to use Pinterest to scroll through fashion keywords while socializing so she feels productive and visually stimulated. And we find the segment is very action orientated when they're here. The majority of them feel like Pinterest is an inspirational platform. 70% of them feel it's like a place for discovery. And most of them take some form of action after using it. So let's meet our conscious go-getters. These people are motivated go-getters to drive new trends and use Pinterest to fuel purchase ideas. Demographically, they skew slightly towards male, but the majority of them fall in within the millennial bracket. They are highly entrepreneurial and ambitious, aiming for financial success and freedom from the 9-to-5. And as you can see from this quote from one of our study participants, I am a big believer of being able to achieve anything if you put your mind to it. I'm not afraid to work hard to get there, which actually sounds a lot like the ad industry themselves. What I love about the segment is that they're not heavily interested in topics that we're known for in Pinterest. Their interests are, the number one interest is actually sports, and this includes things like football and fitness and exercise and outdoor activities. And the second interest is entertainment, things like films, movies, and cinema. Pinterest plays an important role in their lives in 3 distinct ways. First and foremost, it is a destination for inspiration. From the latest food trends to travel destinations, this segment seeks out inspiration and ideas on the platform. Secondly, it's a brand building platform for them. Not only is Pinterest important to this segment for personal inspiration, but some use the platform to inspire their business creative sort of things like photo shoot locations, creating brand identities, and figuring out ways to amplify their brand's social media presence. And finally, it's a cooler image bank. So in contrast to other platforms, the imagery on Pinterest feels unique, fresh, and edgy. So the styles that they find on here suits their personalities and their creative vision, making it sort of distinct to others. And we find that ads drive impact and engagement from this segment. They are more likely to be inspired by advertising that they see online versus the average UK pinner. They're also more likely to be in the purchase mindset when using Pinterest in comparison to the average UK pinner. And the vast majority of them take some sort of post-platform action. Now let's meet our design mavens. These creative pinners are focused and love to plan ahead. They use Pinterest to explore art and design, architecture, as well as animals. Demographically, they also have a 50-50 male split, and they're more likely to fall within the millennial age bracket. They are creative and empathetic souls with an array of interests, including things like painting, drawing, interior design, and sustainability. And as you can see from this quote from one of our participants, my work is based around interiors, but I discuss the topic of sustainability quite a lot as it's something I'm hugely passionate about. These designers are defined by their interests in art and design, and these include things like drawing techniques, and photography. And it's also followed by their interests in animals, including dogs, cute animals, and pet care. And finally, by architecture, by 58%, including house architecture, abandoned mansions, and industrial interior design. And finally, Pinterest is a place for self-expression. Compared to other platforms, Pinterest is a place to promote a positive, non-toxic environment, which ties into their desire for mental well-being. Actually, some come to Pinterest to just ease their stress and anxiety throughout the day, as it helps them express themselves emotionally and creatively. And finally, using Pinterest actually inspires action. So a vast majority of them take some sort of action off the back of using the platform. Now, let's meet our authentic explorers. I love this segment because they're authentic and really self-aware individuals who feel Pinterest is a safe haven for them to explore their interests whilst remaining true to themselves, something which they find difficult to achieve on other platforms. Demographically, the majority of authentic explorers identify as female, and although there is a mix of ages, they do skew slightly older. For them, happiness is a key priority, and their optimism makes them great company for others. I kind of want to hang out with them, actually. They love exploring the great outdoors and appreciating beauty in nature. And we have this really great quote from this participant from London saying, try and be strong, positive, and honest. Honesty is very important to me as an ability to laugh at myself and not being able to take myself too seriously. I think being authentic is the only real way to be happy. I love that. So for authentic explorers, when on the platform, they love exploring animals, quotes, memes, and to a slightly lesser degree, science and nature. And animals are really important to them, including cute things like dogs and wildlife. Their interests are in quotes, memes, and anything funny, as well as anything inspirational. Pinterest shows up in authentic explorers' lives in two distinct ways. It helps them live their best lives. It presents positive affirmations to boost their mood and be the best version of themselves. For them, Pinterest is a place that's space-free from judgment, where they can be their true selves, unlike other platforms. And it promotes connections with the world. It allows them to connect with nature and feel part of something bigger, yet in a positive and safe environment. And it's safe to say that the genuine experience means that authentic explorers are inspired to discover and also purchase. The majority feel that Pinterest is an inspirational platform at 72% and a place for discovery at 77%, which is significantly higher than how they feel about other competitor platforms. Almost half of them say that the platform actually inspires them to buy things, which is, again, higher than the competitor average. And now, finally, let's meet our final segment, our Inspired Makers. This segment is what I describe as the heartland of pinners. They are artistic, creative, and turn to Pinterest in terms to seek for inspiration and discover new ideas around gardening and home. And for them, Pinterest has been playing an important role in their lives for a really long time, helping them visualize and plan for everything from holidays, weddings, home moves, and more. Demographically, most identify as female, and they're more likely to be older and older millennials or Gen Zs. Their priorities are family, health, and happiness. They find their joy in making things like having to think of themselves as arty and creative, and are always on the lookout for their next creative project. And given their artistic nature, it wasn't surprising to see that inspired makers are really defined by exploring their creative interests on Pinterest. So, things like DIY crafts at 82%, including things like hobbies and crafts, easy home decor, and DIY home decor. And this is followed by their interest in home, including things like interior design, home renovation, and their interest in things like art and design, photography, and nature photography. Pinterest plays a role in their lives in three ways. It helps them pick their next project when they're looking for the next, thing to stick their teeth into. It helps them become creative doers, finding ways to entertain their children or going and on with those DIY projects around the house. And they're an action-orientated bunch as well, to use the ideas that they find and actually implement them in real life. And Pinterest actually helps them build their worlds by collating images of interiors of fashion items. They like to try out various combinations of how they see the full ensemble fit together. Actually, one Midland respondent spoke, one of our Midlands respondents spoke about how her house renovation board was so helpful to her, and how it helped her visualize the space and the different aspects in fitting it together. And finally, in terms of how they bring value to advertisers, well, they also are inspired and take action. They feel, this segment feels strongly around, quite closely connected to the safe and inspirational place that Pinterest can offer. and 9 out of 10 of them take some form of action. So that was our 6 new segments that you'll find on the UK audience space. Thank you so much for bearing with us. I think it's safe to say that there is a whole new version of Pinterest you may not have realized, and we'd love to share more of that with you. And I'm hoping that some of really getting to know how audiences are behaving today may have helped to do that. And once again, apologies for not being there. I've had a little bit of a cough today, so thank you for bearing with me. But luckily, I'm not there in person, so I won't be coughing on you in person. So take care, enjoy the rest of your day.